My video for June the 9th, 2019 is entitled The Best Way to Handle Dissent, and it's video number 3111. My longtime friend, Mr. Ed, says I am still on the left politically. To him and many others, there is no middle ground. Either the left wins or the right. I know many see it that way, but I do not. I see that as the problem, not a solution. Division is and always has been the dark agenda. Balanced perspectives allow us to love one another because we have developed wisdom. To me, that is the prerequisite that leads to peace here or anywhere. Our point of view is and can only be based on personal experience, not on ideology. While I would like very much for humanity to develop good judgment that does not condemn but listens, it seems we have a long way to go before we can get there. Am I misguided to think I will experience that in my lifetime? God, I hope not. So far, however, all my great expectations have only produced continuing disappointment. What's the answer? Is there a best way? An actual solution that works? Oh, again, I struggle, but I am grateful that my friend Matthew from England was able to help me resolve some of the remaining issues with my old Dell, which now has a new hard drive. And we actually set up the old hard drive as an external hard drive. It's a full, just under a terabyte. And so the computer issues seem to be leveling out, and there are some other things that I might choose to do on my Acer computer or whatever. But for right now, I am really happy that I'm on my old Dell, which has a larger hard drive than the new Dell did. I would have never even bought the new Dell if I knew it only had 160 gigabytes of RAM, or not of RAM, but of hard drive. That's simply inadequate for someone that makes videos all the time. Of course, I do have external hard drives in addition to the one that was just created with the other hard drive. Anyway, folks, Mr. Ed, like so many, have a goal in mind. They want to see peace on earth. So do I, which is why I was involved with the ambassador, which is why I was involved with Swiss Indo, which is why I was the Secretary of State of an attempt to reestablish the Republic for the United States of America. I've been involved in lots of things. It's why I make videos every day. It's why I used to preach on street corners when I was just a little kid. Still, 11, 12 years, 13 years old, and why I've pursued a spiritual path all of my life, exploring. The idea that there's only one way is ludicrous to me when it is said that the way is you've got to be a Seventh-day Adventist, you've got to be a Pentecostal, you've got to be a Baptist, you've got to be a Catholic, you've got to be a Protestant, you've got to be a Hindu, you've got to be a Buddhist, you've got to be a Muslim, you got to be a Jew, but not just a regular Jew, but a Messianic Jew. Give me a break. Don't you folks see that all of this is just division? All of this just keeps us from being able to listen to one another in most cases. And as I wrote that blurb and pondered before I even started recording, I thought, Ron, when people start arguing with you, you cut them off. You don't want to listen. No, I don't. When people start calling me names, I don't want to listen. And it's communication is fine. I can communicate with anybody till they start, saying things that just, to me, they're calling me names. They're putting me in a box that I don't fit in. So it is the human tendency to withdraw from those when those, whoever they are, seem to be attacking us. That's just, is it human nature? It seems to be. I mean, even an animal is going to shrink up or draw back or some way try to preserve itself from an external threat. And in the physical world, everything seems external, although we're told by people who are scientific mystics that really it's all interconnected. It's all one single web of life. And I believe that that's true. I really do think that there is one web of life, but somehow division was introduced and the idea of competition rather than cooperation. And it all is made possible because somewhere along the line, creation of mankind or humankind or whatever was distorted and limited in its perception abilities. And it became an us versus them. It became a competition. It became a right-left paradigm, a male-female paradigm, or masculine-feminine paradigm. It became a conflict, a war. And we have had war after war after war throughout our history, in case you haven't noticed. Why? You can point the finger at the money problem. I've done that many times, and I do think that is a major contributing factor. Do I know that for sure? I don't remember the details of ancient history. I don't know if the story of how the slaves were let free from their chains and paid to do the same work they were doing when they were chained. I don't know if that's true. It's a nice story, but I can't prove it. And all I can prove, I don't know if I can prove anything when I come right down to it, because you can't see something until you're ready to see it. I couldn't see some things. For example, I thought the Bible was the Word of God. I didn't see all the contradictions. And then I have people tell me still, there are no contradictions. Well, yes, there are. But I missed them for a long time in my life. I didn't see some of the glaring contradictions. And that was a mental construct that blinded me from being able to perceive something that was plain and obvious, but not to me, because you can't see anything till you're ready to see it. So what's going to get us ready to see the things that we need to do to bring us to the point of actually listening and loving? Because we have to listen before we can love. We have to build a bridge. I mean, I've heard of even couples that get together, they seem to be euphoric, and all of a sudden they reach a point of disagreement, and all of a sudden that's the end of the relationship. It's over. That's insane. What was the relationship built on to begin with? It certainly wasn't love. If you're going to withdraw as soon as the other person expresses a different point of view, that's craziness. But lots of people do it. That's why we have people with so many marriages. I've had two myself. I've had some relationships where there was no marriage, but they ended too. When I was called a liar by the one lady, and then she ended up stealing from me. Yeah, I know, that's old history. It's an old story. But these are things that we experience, and the things that we experience shape our perception of reality. I still believe, I'm still convinced that love is the only rational way out. It's the only spiritual reality that's going to bring us to a higher level of conscious experience. Will that happen in my lifetime? I don't know. As I said, I've had great expectations and huge disappointments. Thank you, folks, for listening, and namaste.